Heaven Reacher. Ophelia repeated thoughtfully. It was quite a suitable name if Vaan could bring the project to life as he envisioned. Moreover, its name would shake the world at its foundation once its fame spread. The first to flock over would be the magic engineering scholars around the world, followed by wealthy and powerful people. There wasn't a single person in the world who wasn't curious about the world beyond the sky. Thus, if they could afford the experience, they would certainly be willing to pay for it. Ophelia could see the Heaven Reacher project attracting countless wealth and fame to the country once it was completed. By then, many countries would actively reach out to the Black Rose Empire despite their zero contact in the past. It would be a huge step forward for the Black Rose Empire. However, whether the rest of humanity would benefit from it remained to be seen. Although Vaan initiated the project to bring humanity into the interstellar age and advance their progress by leaps and bounds, he no longer needed to wait for the completion of the Heaven Reacher project, Space Station project, and Space Gateway project. His goal was to bring people to the moon to build a training base to utilize the pure mana from the other side of the dimensional crack there. Fortunately, a highly advanced old base already existed within the moon's core. They only needed to repair it and restore its life support functions. With his current comprehension of the spatial law, Vaan could take quite a lot to the moon in an instant. Gather 50 high witches, 30 peak stage senior witches, and 20 students at the true witch rank, Aliana. Also, call Kryrina, Dahlia, and your mother over, Vaan instructed. Yes, Lord Vaan. Aliana immediately complied and departed. Shortly after, Vaan turned to Lord Narvim, return the clan and bring back 100 dragons with at least rank 5 magic engineering knowledge and 200 airheads, Lord Narvim. Understood, Supreme Leader. Lord Narvim left after giving Inauz a brief glance. What do you plan to do with so many airheads? Or rather, the Red Dragon clan actually has so many airheads, Sir Vaan? Ophelia quickly asked with pure astonishment. I don't think we are thinking on the same page, Lady Ophelia, Vaan replied. Huh. Then, what kind of airhead are you talking about? An airhead is the name of a specific Magitech headgear design with the function of adjusting its size to fit the user and provide a steady supply of breathable air to them. It's an essential gear for surviving in the Sea of Stars, Lady Ophelia, Vaan explained. However, Ophelia couldn't help but feel speechless. She was originally impressed with Vaan's naming sense when she thought of Heaven Reacher. However, she had to take it back after learning about Airhead. Couldn't he have picked a better name for it? Teacher. Vaan. Cyrena and Dahlia rushed over with excitement and joy while Solana lagged behind at a calm and steady pace. Vaan nodded. He noticed they had all made improvements in their magic power during his absence, with Cyrena showing the biggest progress. She originally had no magic due to Aliana's anti-magic spores. But once her ability to cultivate was unsealed, her talents bloomed in full might, especially after she practiced with his mana circulation method. In such a short time, Cyrena had already advanced to mid-stage senior witch, surpassing all her peers and catching up to academic teachers. Her speed of advancement could be considered extraordinary since the dawn of magic on Pangaea. On the other hand, Dahlia was a peak stage senior witch, and Solana stepped into the high witch rank on her own. We are going to the moon. Do you have any arrangements to make before we leave? Vaan asked. The three ladies were immediately surprised. There was indeed a lot of work for them to do in Sun Peak City. However, they had been working hard all this while. As such, they figured it was fine to take a break, they only needed to notify some people. When they relayed that to Vaan, he sent them back to make arrangements. Although Aliana was the city lord, most of the city management work had fallen under Solana, who acted as the vice city lord. On the other hand, Cyrena was Vaan's potioneering student. Since he didn't have time to concoct potions himself, he gave her many potion recipes to practice with. Those potion recipes became the very foundation of their potion shop. As the head potioneer of Vaan's potion shop, Cyrena had earned herself a reputation in Sun Peak City. Many witches would flock to their store each day to buy her potions due to their superior quality and effects compared to other potions of the same categories on the market. Even Vaan did not know how much wealth the potion shop had accumulated for him all this while, not to mention the dividends from his deal with Lady Helia of Red Pine City. However, with the total wealth accrued in his heaven-swallowing space, he was bound to be uninterested in this bit of wealth from his businesses. The accumulated mana stones from his businesses were better off invested in the city's development and quality of life improvement. Naturally, this had been left Dahlia's charge, who had been managing the potion store and his various properties. There wasn't a single person in Sun Peak City who didn't know about Madame Payne. She was the publicly recognized wealthiest witch in town. Only very few people knew that Dahlia was only managing Vaan's wealth. After the three ladies left to free up their work schedule with substitutes, Vaan reached out to the three dream catchers. Lady Fourth Dream, Lady Seventh Dream, and Lady Ninth Dream, what do you all think of this city? How does it compare to your hometown in the Dream Dust territory? Vaan asked. It's a lot better than the human city we were at. However, it is far inferior to our illusory moon city in every aspect. There is nothing worth comparing, Sir Vaan, Fourth Dream answered honestly. Vaan nodded. Since Hecate was so knowledgeable in many fields, it shouldn't be surprising for illusory moon city to develop into an unbelievably advanced place during the 10,000 years under her rule. On the other hand, Sun Peak City was like an infant who had barely learned to walk. Although it had little to show yet, its potential was limitless. As it would become the focal point of the Black Rose Empire in the future, it was the prime location for Hecate's first church. Given her influence, it would also provide a layer of protection to Sun Peak City once her religion took form. Since he permitted her to establish her religion anywhere within his area of influence, how could he not take advantage of her influence for his own benefit? In this case, both parties would benefit if a church of Hecate was built here. Hecate's influence would add an additional layer of protection to the Heaven Reacher from potential sabotagers. On the other hand, Hecate's worshippers would get a large population of witches to convert. But you have been quietly listening to the Heaven Reacher project. As such, you should be aware of this city's future developments. Would Lady Hecate like her official church to be built here? Vaan asked. This. We will have to ask Lady Hecate about it, Fourth Dream replied with uncertainty. She couldn't make the decision for her mistress. We'll put a hold on that topic then, Vaan nodded. Fourth Dream was immediately relieved and concerned at the same time. She wasn't sure how to respond if Vaan pressed the matter since she couldn't give him an answer. Her mistress had cut off contact since returning to Illusory Moon City a moment ago. As such, no one could reach Hecate, not even Ophelia or her other devil's contractor. Sometime later, Cyrena, Dahlia, and Solana finished settling their businesses and returned. Lord Narvim and Aliana also brought over Vaan's requirements as instructed. Vaan spotted Sabrina, Louise, Cassandra, and Alicia among the true witch level students. They were all Red Pine Academy students who had dual practiced with him before. However, they were still stuck at peak stage true witch and had not entered the senior witch rank. Although they had made some progress since he had last seen them, it was still small compared to Cyrena and the others. As such, he made a mental note to assist them on this trip if they had not broken their contracts. He'd make sure to check later. Vaan gave them a nod of acknowledgement after they made eye contact. He could see longing and excitement in their gazes. Since everyone is here, we'll prepare to depart. Lord Narvim, have your clan members distribute the airheads to everyone and teach them how to use them. Yes, Supreme Leader. On the side, Ophelia's lips twitched. She doubted she would ever get used to hearing such a name for a Magitech gear. 20 minutes later, everyone became familiar with their airheads amid their astonishment with their functions. The airheads were designed to cover the red dragon's entire head. But when used by the witches, they covered their whole bodies like skin-tight, elastic glass suits without producing any discomfort. It was quite magical. Everyone quickly became interested in the special materials used to produce the airheads. However, they weren't given the extra time to study further. Since everyone is ready, let us depart at once, Vaan stated. With a downward stroke of his hand, a large-scale spatial portal dropped from above and swallowed everyone, bringing them all to the moon's core on the other side. Previous chapter. Gehenna Realm, Dream Dust Territory. Shortly after Hecate returned to Illusory Moon City with her 6 Dreamcatchers and 3 Vampirus Lords, darkness encroached on the land. An unprecedented sense of gloom and oppression weighed on the myriad races living within the prosperous city. The liveliness and bustling activities throughout the busy streets ceased, and an ominous sense of fear crept into everyone's heart. It was like the Grim Reaper's hand had latched onto their hearts, ready to crush them with a squeeze at a moment's notice. What's going on? A transcendent rank dark fairy cried with alarm and dread. Illusory Moon City had never experienced such large-scale ominous phenomena since its founding. Moreover, many residents have never encountered difficulties or danger due to its high quality of life and strict stability. Anywhere could be attacked, but not Illusory Moon City. It was hidden in the heart of Dream Dust territory and was the safest place to live. As such, their fear was amplified when they encountered such a dreadful aura covering the whole city. Meanwhile, Hecate knew who the all-encompassing aura belonged to. There was only one being in Gehenna with such a dreadful aura of death, Thanatos. Although the deathly aura seemed to threaten to take everyone's life in the blink of an eye, she also knew the Supreme Great Devil wouldn't take a life so easily as long as she didn't defy his will. Of course, there was only a thin line between a threat and a death sentence. The choice was hers to make. Hecate, your immediate presence is required at the Great Devil Conference. Will you agree or decline? Thanatos's voice eerily resounded throughout the Dream Dust territory. I agree. Hecate resolutely shouted at the sky. Naturally, she had no other choice, not with Thanatos's death power looming over everyone's head like a sword of Damocles, ready to be dropped at any time. Although she didn't want to believe Thanatos would wipe out the Dream Dust territory's population because of a single disagreement, she didn't intend to find out. After all, she would still lose something even if she didn't lose everything. A hefty price would be paid for defiance. Nevertheless, after Thanatos received Hecate's answer, his deathly aura retracted from her Dream Dust territory like a receding tide. Even so, many people were still inflicted with lingering fear. So that's the power of a realm lord. Third Dream slightly shuddered with a mix of dread and astonishment. She was already a late-stage rank 6 divine being, but her power was nowhere near that of Thanatos, who was at the peak of rank 6 divine being. After all, besides Thanatos, no other divine being in Gehenna could cover an entire territory with their divine aura. Even Hecate, who was at the same level, couldn't match his seemingly boundless power. It was not a matter of quality but sheer quantity. It didn't seem like the Supreme Great Devil's divine power could be exhausted. This was because Thanatos was bound to Gehenna and could draw its power for himself. The power of a single rank 6 divine being was nothing compared to an entire realm. Mistress, are you really going to attend the Great Devil Conference? First Dream asked with concern. I don't have a choice. I must meet the other Great Devils and give them a proper explanation. Otherwise, Sir Vaan's life will be in danger, and our territory will also suffer, Hecate calmly stated. First Dream frowned and said, I don't understand, mistress. Why go so far for a human you just met? I wonder about that myself. Hecate smiled before shaking her head, saying, actually, it's not a complicated reason. I had something he needed, and he also had something I needed. We are helping each other for that purpose. Do you know why I have chosen to leave my powerful clan and settle down in this backwater realm alone for the past 10,000 years? Mistress once mentioned that because of your unique soul constitution, you would never be able to step into rank 7. However, Mistress's grandmother divined that you could find your destiny-changing opportunity in Gehenna, which was why you came here, First Dream recalled. That's right, and I have found it, Hecate admitted before adding, my bottleneck is already no more, and my ascension to rank 7 is only a matter of time, First Dream. Congratulations, Mistress. Your long-cherished wish has been achieved. First Dream rejoiced, feeling happy for Hecate. There wasn't a single dreamcatcher that didn't feel the same way. Each of them used to be a no-name, living in some slum region scattered throughout Gehenna. However, their mistress found them, brought them back to Illusory Moon City, fed them, taught them, and trained them. To them, their mistress wasn't just their benefactor and teacher but their mother. As such, they were eternally grateful to her. Hecate nodded before saying, it's hard to say how long this great devil conference will take, but I will most likely be gone for a while. I will have to entrust you and the Dreamcatchers with managing Dream Dust territory in my absence. You can leave it to us, mistress. We will not let you down. Second Dream answered. They have followed Hecate for a long time and learned how to manage Dream Dust territory long ago. Perhaps Hecate taught them to be competent with everything, foreseeing that she would leave Gehenna one day. However, should that day ever come, they wouldn't want to stay behind, they would rather follow her. Alright, I am counting on all of you, Hecate said before suddenly reminding them, make sure the 6th progenitor, 11th progenitor, and 13th progenitor feel at home and teach them the ropes around Illusory Moon City. We will, mistress, First Dream promised. Hecate nodded. Shortly after, she departed Illusion Moon City and headed to the Great Devil Conference without further delay. Out of Gehenna's 7 habitable planets and 2 uninhabitable planets, the Great Devil Conference has always been held on one of the 2 uninhabitable planets, the Purple Flame Territory. The Purple Flame Territory was, as its name suggested, a place filled with purple flames burning eternally. In the distant past, the Purple Flame Territory used to be a beautiful green planet filled with lush vegetation and plant life. Only 40% of its surface was covered with water. As such, it boasted the highest production of magic plants used for medicine, alchemy, and potioneering, among other fields. The Purple Flame Territory's renown was so great that it also spread to neighboring realms and even reached the eyes and ears of the ruling Skymagia Star Kingdom. As a result, it eventually became one of the Skymagia Star Kingdom's strategic resource points, allowing it to enjoy unparalleled status in Gehenna. Unfortunately, its glorious days did not last forever. A beloved son of the Purple Flame Territory's ruler harmed a royal princess of the Star Kingdom during one of her visits, incurring the wrath of the entire Skymagia Star Kingdom. Due to conflicting opinions regarding the truth of the scandal, a great war quickly broke out on the planet. However, the Purple Flame Territory's strength could never compare to the might of the Skymagia Star Kingdom's forces. Thus, after losing miserably, it was reduced to its current state. Although it was never confirmed, the Purple Flame Territory adamantly believed the scandal with the Skymagia Star Kingdom's royal princess was a scheme of the Divine Sun Star Kingdom until the very end. As such, many beings also believed the Purple Flame Territory's fiery demon spirits that emerged after its destruction were the evil spirits of those who had died unjustly. Although many star arrays leading to the Purple Flame Territory still existed, its visitors were no longer the same as they were in its heyday. It had become a tempering ground for those looking to train or gain battle experience against the fiery demon spirits. On a tall, rocky black mountain, with an overall good view of the desolate land eternally ravaged by purple flames, a Stonehenge was found with seats around a rock table in the center. Thanatos made this place the Great Devil Conference's location in remembrance of all who had died in the Purple Flame Territory. Among those who served the Purple Flame Territory's ruler and fell in battle, there were countless more uninvolved innocent lives that did not partake in the war. They did not deserve to die, but they were killed regardless, simply for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Skymagia Star Kingdom was certainly ruthless in maintaining its authority over its vassal star realms. No matter how often I've come to this place, I can always feel its lingering gloom and despair. Alas, this is a blood debt Gehenna can never claim back. Great Devil Mephistopheles glanced at the scenery with nonchalance before turning to an undead lich cloaked in endless darkness. What do you think, Thanatos? Pick your words carefully, Mephisto. You should know that loose lips sink ships. The Skymagia Star Kingdom might suspect Gehenna is plotting a rebellion against it due to those words of yours. Yeah. Can you at least address me by my full name, Thanatos? I'm still a great devil with some dignity, you know? It's too long, and I am too lazy, Mephi. Previous chapter. Mephistopheles was speechless. What kind of baby name was Mephi? How was that suitable for a great devil? Not only did he not get his wish, his name was shortened even further. Given his nature, he should have known not to ask anything of Thanatos. After all, he only liked to sleep and do nothing. Thanatos rarely involved himself with Gehenna's matters unless it was something big, and Abaddon's death was definitely a big matter. Mephistopheles could only quietly accept whatever name was given by Thanatos. However, he wouldn't go down without a fight. Then, I'll just call you Thana. Do you really want to play that game with me, Meph? Thanatos asked, staring at Mephistopheles directly. At the same time, Mephistopheles stared into Thanatos's pair of dark, empty eye sockets that seemed like a deep abyss with endless death swirling at its bottom. It was as if the unfathomable power of death would rush out at a moment's notice. Thanatos could disrespect others, but others could not disrespect him since he was the realm lord of Gehenna. Forget it. You don't play fair, Thanatos, Mephistopheles conceded as he surrendered to the silent pressure. Why should I play fair when I can play to win? Thanatos nonchalantly replied. Although Mephistopheles wanted to retort, no words came out of his open mouth. There was no point in trying. As such, he lit a cigarette and had a puff while enjoying the gloomy scenery in silence until the others arrived. However, his casual smoking unexpectedly attracted Thanatos' attention. What is that? This? A product from the human world, a cigarette. It's funny how humans enjoy this stuff even if it kills them. I got curious, so I tried it. Now I understand why they do what they do. You know it kills, but you still introduce such poison into your body? I don't understand you, Meph. It's such a low-level poison, it doesn't harm my divine body. Even then, I can just drink a low-level impurity cleansing potion to flush out the filth. What's the point of living if you don't enjoy it? I'm not like you, who sleeps all day, Thanatos. Of the 7 great devils, Mephistopheles was probably the only one who could talk to Thanatos more boldly. Their hobbies could be determined by their appearances alone. Despite being the realm lord of Gehenna, the Lich King Thanatos did not dress fancy. He only wore a simple, ragged black cloak and covered himself in darkness and death. On the other hand, Mephistopheles dressed fancy in the products of humans. He was supposed to be a demon with black wings and horns, but none of them were seen in his formal black suit. He also had his hair slicked back according to one of the men's trending hairstyles. Mephistopheles could have been mistaken for a human if not for his deep black eyes and glaring red pupils. Looks like I'm not first, a third voice entered the Stonehenge. Thanatos and Mephistopheles both shifted their attention to the third arriver, a beautiful woman in skin-tight black leather armor, showcasing the curves of her voluptuous body. She also had a distinctive long devil tail and 2 pairs of bat wings, a small pair on her head like horns and a big pair on her waist. Without them, she could have also been mistaken for a human woman. Although she also looked slender and weak but seductive like a brothel whore, she carried an enormous battle axe that was longer than her height by half and weighed over 100,000 kilograms. Only a fool would not realize the extraordinariness of her brute strength. She was undoubtedly the succubus queen and great devil of the Red Song territory, Astarte the Charming. No, you're the 4th, Mephistopheles casually replied. The 4th? Astarte paused. With her eyebrow raised in doubt, she glanced around to determine the location of the supposed 3rd great devil who had arrived before her. However, she failed to locate the great devil. Not even a 3rd divine aura could be sensed. Your jokes aren't funny, Mephistopheles. Are you trying to get my attention? You should have just said so. Why don't we return to my lair for a more private talk? Forget it. I'm not tired of living yet. Humph, pussy. Mephistopheles' lips twitched. He pretended not to have heard Astarte's derogatory remark and ignored her. It was better not to play with fire, lest he get himself burned. Why were the ones to arrive first the most serious and least fun to play with? Great, Wolfman and Giant Bro are here, Mephistopheles rejoiced at their arrival, becoming energetic again after a period of idleness. However, Balmodin and Helkan didn't share his energy. After briefly glancing at him, they immediately ignored him right after. They weren't interested in clowning with him or entertaining his boredom. They had already learned how to deal with the trickster long ago. That just leaves Fairy Girl and Bloodsucker. Oh, no. Bloodsucker is dead, isn't he? I guess Fairy Girl is last. Take your seats. Hecate will be here soon. Once Thanatos' command sounded, the other 4 great devils quickly took their seat around the stone table. However, as Helkan passed by Astarte's seat, he was immediately attracted to her powerful and heavy battle axe that seemed to be made from higher grades of Starcore iron. He subconsciously reached out to it. Pack! Astarte immediately slapped Helkan's rough, rocky hand away before glaring at him coldly. If you try to touch my stuff again, I can't promise your hands will remain intact, Helkan, Astarte warned. Helkan frowned at Astarte's unfriendly attitude before his lips curled with contempt. He replied, a divine weapon like this is practically made for me. A slender woman like you is unworthy of wielding it. Are you challenging me? Astarte uttered gloomily as the surrounding temperatures starkly dropped to a chilling level. Heh, Helkan snickered before saying, was it so hard to understand? Boom. 2 powerful divine auras immediately surged out of Helkan and Astarte and clashed, squeezing all the air out of their confrontation zone. Helkan and Astarte glared at each other with sharp rising battle intent. However, a deathly aura soon slipped into their oppressive fields with little resistance, covering their bodies like a grim reaper's scythe resting around their necks. Sit, Thanatos uttered. Helkan and Astarte had no choice but to obey, putting off their rivalry for another time when Thanatos wasn't around. Not long after, Hecate finally arrived at the Stonehenge. She immediately noticed the great devils were all present and seated. I'm late? No, you're just in time. After hearing Thanatos' assuring words, Hecate nodded before calmly joining the great devils at the stone table. No one objected to Hecate sitting despite her breaking a taboo of Gehenna and becoming the main subject for their gathering. Since everyone is present, we can begin the Great Devil Conference. Right after Thanatos made his announcement, Mephistopheles immediately jumped at the opportunity to condemn Hecate. Do you know what you have done wrong, Hecate? I do not, Hecate coolly denied. You don't? Or are you pretending not to know? Mephistopheles argued, killing a great devil is strictly taboo. Thanatos made this rule clear to everyone long ago. Not only did you challenge Thanatos' authority, you also caused Gehenna immeasurable losses. How do you intend to answer to Thanatos and compensate us, Hecate? Mephistopheles asked, exposing his true intent. In truth, Hecate wouldn't face any serious consequences even if she did kill Abaddon. After all, killing her would cause Gehenna even more losses. As such, their purpose was to get some benefits out of her. However, how could they easily remove food she had already put in her mouth? Oh, please. You should be thanking me. I did everyone a big favor and removed the thorn in our side. Gehenna is better off without Abaddon than it is with him, Hecate retorted. No matter how much of a pain in the ass Abaddon was, it does not change the fact that you killed Abaddon and broke the rule, weakening Gehenna and causing us an immeasurable loss of power. Mephistopheles argued. That's your so-called fact? Not only are you ignorant, but you are also deaf, Hecate taunted with contempt before saying, I have already said I have not done anything wrong. I didn't kill Abaddon, so who the hell are you to say I did? Were you there? Did you see it with your own eyes? No? I didn't think so. Mephistopheles opened his mouth but was unable to refute her argument. He truly had no idea how Abaddon died, he only knew Hecate was involved. Enough of your sophistry, Hecate. Even if you didn't kill Abaddon, you most definitely played a hand in his death. That is no different from killing him yourself, Balmodon said with a frown. Do you think we will honestly believe you if you said someone from Pangaea is capable of killing him without your help? And you don't think there is? I don't know if you are pretending to be ignorant or just stupid, Balmodon. Hecate looked at him with disdain and said, 300 years ago, you, Helcan, and Abaddon eagerly sent your forces to invade Pangaea and conquer it. Yet after your first wave failed, you quickly gave up and even banned Helcan and Abaddon from sending forces through your territory. I wonder what changed your mind so quickly. Why don't you enlighten us on that matter, Balmodon? Hecate snickered with contempt. Balmodon was immediately silenced by Hecate's question. At the same time, the other great devils also fixed their attention on him. They had always been curious about this matter. However, they found it beneath them to pry into the secrets of their youngest great devil. Now that Hecate reminded them, they couldn't help but feel startled by Balmodon's hidden motives. Something that could cause him to give up conquering Pangaea had to be unbelievably strong, so much so that he didn't dare to launch another attempt even in 300 years. Although they had secretly learned about the legends of the golden dragon Pangaea, no matter how much they searched, they had never found any concrete proof of its existence. If that legend was true, Balmodon must have hoped they would accidentally offend the golden dragon Pangaea and suffer disastrously. In a short instant, the gazes directed at Balmodon became unkind. However, no one stood out to condemn him, and neither did Balmodon try to explain himself. There was no point since it had been exposed. The other great devils weren't that stupid. Although you said you didn't kill Abaddon, you definitely know who did. Furthermore, my sources have told me the Evernight territory has fallen under your control. No matter how you look at it, you've benefited the most from Abaddon's death, Hecate, Thanatos calmly mentioned. What are you trying to say, Thanatos? Just speak bluntly, Hecate urged. Although you aided Abaddon's death, I won't punish you. I won't deprive you of your rights to the Evernight territory either. I know how competent you are, the Evernight territory will surely flourish in your hands. This is good for Gehenna, Thanatos stated. However, the true killer must be punished. Not only did they break my rule, but they were capable enough to kill a great devil, even if it was with your help. Naturally, that makes them a big threat to us and Gehenna. I will give you a chance to confess their name and break away from any relationship you share with them. Otherwise, you may not enjoy the benefits I've previously mentioned, Hecate, Thanatos stated. You want me to sell out my partner to prove my loyalty to Gehenna still exists, Thanatos? Hecate shook her head deprecatingly. Even if she didn't confess, the great devils could still figure out the culprit with some investigation. It wasn't difficult for them to do so. How do you intend to punish this person once you know their identity? Hecate asked. Isn't that obvious? The person must be killed if they are that big of a threat. How can we tolerate their existence if we are at odds? Not to mention, they broke the rule. He has to be killed to uphold Thanatos' authority. Helcan stated with a venomous look. He had a faint guess of who the killer was. Rules are dead, but people are alive. This person is more useful to Gehenna alive than dead, Hecate argued before snickering at Helcan. I'm afraid you won't be able to bear the consequences of killing that person. If that person dies, you will all be the greatest sinners of Gehenna, Hecate warned. Helcan immediately frowned in doubt, but he wouldn't be deterred by Hecate's words so easily. That's some bold claims you have there, Hecate. Why don't you tell us exactly what kind of consequences we will face for killing Abaddon's killer? Helcan demanded. You want me to spell the consequences out to you? Why should I do it just because you tell me to? Are you too stupid to think for yourself, Helcan? Hecate insulted before stating, I will only give you 2 words, Soul Master. Try figuring out the consequences with that pig-sized brain of yours, Hecate coldly added. You. Helcan glared back at Hecate furiously. However, he was immediately forced to quell his anger when he heard Thanatos tap the stone table with his bone finger. So the culprit is a Soul Master? Balmodon uttered before admitting, that certainly changes some things, but not by much. Even if the culprit is a Soul Master, they shouldn't be that strong if they need you to assist them in killing Abaddon. We only need 2 or more great devils to join hands to remove this threat before it is given a chance to grow further. A soul master that has yet to spread their wings is not a huge problem. At the very least, we still have the power to remove this threat, Balmodin stated. Hecate suddenly laughed before snickering coldly, the words of the ignorant. Little ball, you better sit back quietly and let the adults talk. Balmodin's face darkened immediately. Just because he was the youngest great devil in the group, it didn't mean others could disrespect him. After all, his true age wasn't necessarily any less than the eldest great devil, Thanatos. To refine the evil wolf god's divine power in the shortest time, he had spent roughly 600,000 years practicing in a temporal space relic, which equaled 6,000 years in reality. Unfortunately, it was a low-grade temporal space relic with distorted laws. As such, it did not help him comprehend laws, only granting him a lot of time to train the body. Quiet down, Balmodin. You have barely stepped out of Gehenna, so there are a lot of things that you don't know, Thanatos calmly stated before saying, new soul masters aren't much of a concern, but the forces that back them definitely are. The soul master has a strong backer? How is that possible? Balmodin frowned, wondering how the rat slipped past Gehenna to find himself a powerful backer. However, his thinking was flawed. After all, how could the person have entered chaos to find a strong backer even though he had barely explored himself? Was it that easy to find oneself a strong backer? Chaos was so vast. Unless one had a high-ranking magic vessel or used long-distance star arrays, stellar travel simply took too much time, even for rank 6 divine beings, let alone anything weaker than it. Why can't it be possible? The soul master doesn't even need to be aware of it, Thanatos casually said. As long as one is a confirmed soul master, one will have the backing of the Soul Master Association, with or without their knowledge. Furthermore, the Soul Master Association is very protective of its own. As such, killing a soul master would spell disaster if the Soul Master Association learns of it. Gehenna disappearing from existence could very well be the final outcome if we commit the crime and the Soul Master Association learns of it, Thanatos stated. What the hell is the Soul Master Association? Can it be more powerful than the Skymagia Star Kingdom? It can't just arbitrarily destroy another star country's vassal realm, can it? Balmodin frowned. PFT. Hecate couldn't help but laugh at Balmodin's ignorance before commenting with ridicule, what the hell does a mere Skymagia Star Kingdom amount to compared to the Soul Master Association? Do you even understand what a whole group of Soul Masters represents, little ball? The Soul Master Association is not a star country, but it is indeed more powerful than the Skymagia Star Kingdom, Astarte explained solemnly. The Skymagia Star Kingdom can only be considered a large star kingdom with small influence within the Eternal Dark Heaven sector. On the other hand, the Soul Master Association is a small group with huge influence, spanning countless chaos verses. Based on that magnitude, you can guess how powerful the Soul Master Association is, Balmodin, Astarte said. Balmodin's jaw dropped with wide eyes. After listening to Astarte's explanation, he realized how foolish his question was. It was also no wonder that Hecate laughed at him. If the Soul Master Association's influence truly was so widespread that it stretched across countless chaos verses, then it must have many Empyrean-level powerhouses. Those were the strongest beings under the heavens. On the other hand, the Skymagia Star Kingdom might not even have more than one rank 8 divine being. There was truly no comparison between them. The difference between an ant and an elephant was very clear. However, Balmodin also noticed a problem. No matter how influential and powerful the Soul Master Association is, it has nothing to do with us if they are so high up that we can't reach them, Balmodin frowned. If there's no way to contact them, that also means the chance of them finding out we killed a Soul Master would become non-existent. Furthermore, a feud between Gehenna and Pangaea has already been made. That Soul Master won't leave us alone once they have the strength to step on our heads. If we waste too much time thinking, we might not even get the chance to decide later. Balmodin stressed. His territory had the most contact with Pangaea and also incurred the most hate for his past invasion. As such, if the Soul Master was allowed to grow, wouldn't he be the first to die? Little ball, you speak a lot of sense, Hecate acknowledged before claiming, however, you missed one major variable. What variable? Balmodin frowned. Me, Hecate coolly stated before saying, I want to protect that Soul Master. Do you dare to defy my wish? Even if I do, what can you do, Hecate? Do you think you can stop us if we all choose to eliminate that Soul Master? Balmodin retorted. Hecate surprisingly chuckled as she acknowledged, naturally, I can't stop everyone from going down this path. But if you do force yourself down this path, I can't promise that the Skymagia Star Kingdom won't suddenly visit Gehenna to conscript its elite into its realm war with the Divine Sun Star Kingdom. Boom. Although Hecate spoke casually, her threat rang like thunder in their ears. The area immediately became dead silent. You will go that far for this Soul Master, Hecate? Thanatos slowly asked. You believe her words, Thanatos? Helkan quickly asked, adding, it's just an empty threat. What kind of status does the Skymagia Star Kingdom have? It wouldn't just move because she says so. No, Hecate's words can indeed move the Skymagia Star Kingdom, Helkan, Thanatos solemnly corrected. Hecate is the eldest young lady of the Dark Star aristocrat family. The Skymagia Star Kingdom will definitely give her some face. 10,000 years ago, the Skymagia Star Kingdom originally planned to summon Gehenna to join the realm war. However, Hecate's sudden arrival made the Skymagia Star Kingdom change its plan. As such, you should be thanking her for not becoming some cold corpse on the battlefront until now, Thanatos stated. The Dark Star Aristocrat family? Which Dark Star Aristocrat family? Astarte asked with astonishment. According to her knowledge, she only knew of 7 Dark Star Aristocrat families within the Skymagia Star Kingdom and its 98 vassal star realms. However, none had any powerhouse stronger than an early-stage rank 7 divine being. Thus, it was also impossible for the Skymagia Star Kingdom to take such an aristocratic family seriously. After all, that would give too much face to a family beneath it. Sacred Trisolar Star Kingdom's Dark Star Aristocrat family, Thanatos stated. However, his answer did not produce any shock among the great devils, which also didn't surprise him. Among them, how many had actually traveled to the Skymagia Star Kingdom and its 98 vassal star realms? The Sacred Trisolar Star Kingdom was even further beyond that. Furthermore, it was far more powerful than the Skymagia Star Kingdom. The Sacred Trisolar Star Kingdom is a strong Tier 2 star kingdom. On the other hand, our Skymagia Star Kingdom is only a Tier 1 star kingdom. Furthermore, it is among the weakest Tier 1 star kingdoms, Thanatos calmly explained. For your information, Tier 1 star kingdom only needs one rank 8 divine being to be classified as such. However, a Tier 2 star kingdom has to have at least 10 rank 8 divine beings to be considered a Tier 2 star kingdom. Also, the Skymagia Star Kingdom only requires rank 7 divine beings for a family to become an aristocratic family, but the Sacred Trisolar Star Kingdom requires rank 8 divine beings. Now, do you understand how powerful the Sacred Trisolar Star Kingdom's Dark Star Aristocrat family is? Thanatos asked. Besides Hecate and Thanatos, the great devils were all dumbfounded by the information. Even the usually playful Mephistopheles had his eyes widened like saucers. For your information, my Dark Star Aristocrat family has 3 rank 8 divine beings. Hecate dropped another bomb on top of the shocking news. 3 rank 8 divine beings. Balmodon's lips twitched furiously. Since the Skymagia Star Kingdom was considered one of the weakest Tier 1 star kingdoms, the 3 rank 8 divine beings were enough to topple its sovereignty. After learning Hecate's background, the great devils couldn't help but look at her differently. What the hell? You're practically a princess, Hecate, Mephistopheles exclaimed, smacking his knees. Then, he asked curiously, what made you leave your illustrious family behind to stay in this backwater realm? Can we focus on the more important issue here? Balmodon asked seriously after taking a deep breath. If Hecate wanted to insult or humiliate him again, he would just accept it willingly. But if she wanted his life, he would resist her with everything he had. His pride was nothing if he didn't have a life to enjoy it. Hecate, I apologize if I have been rude to you or offended you in any way. Since you're the eldest young lady of such a powerful family, I will give you that much respect, Balmodon stated before turning grave. However, if you want us to let a threat grow until it ultimately kills us, I will still oppose you with everything I have. You can't expect us to wait and die, right? Balmodon added with a deep frown. Hecate softly sighed before criticizing him. You're very narrow-minded, do you know that, Balmodon? You keep seeing the Soul Master as the problem. But my question to you is, when will you start seeing him as the solution? See the Soul Master as the solution? The solution to what? A slow death? You must be kidding me, Hecate. Helcan laughed coldly and said, I don't know about the others, but I am more adamant about killing this Soul Master. He is no solution of mine, only a problem. What do you two think? Thanatos asked Astarte and Mephistopheles. Since Hecate sees the Soul Master as the solution, I'm curious to hear what she says on that matter, Mephistopheles said thoughtfully. I am of the same opinion, Astarte voiced. Very well, Thanatos acknowledged before returning his attention to Hecate. Since you see him as the solution, I would like you to elaborate. The Soul Master is the solution to what? Naturally, the Soul Master is the solution to breaking away from your mundane lives, Hecate boldly said, which could be considered offensive if taken wrongly. Nevertheless, she continued fearlessly, Soul Masters are always shrouded in great destiny. If we can secure a good relationship with this Soul Master, he will undoubtedly help us achieve heights we never dream of reaching. Have you ever heard of a peak demigod standing toe-to-toe with a peak rank 6 divine being without dying or suffering any loss? This Soul Master is clearly far more talented than any Soul Master I have ever heard of. Furthermore, he still has no teacher to guide him on the path of a Soul Master. His future is simply limitless. If we can help him when he is still weak, how much benefit do you think we will reap once he is strong? You do think rank 7 divine being will be your limit? What if he can help us become rank 8 divine beings or even higher? Have you all thought about that? Hecate mentioned. Soul Masters were the most extraordinary beings in chaos due to their ability to bend the laws to their will. They were the closest beings to origin creators without being at that level. Rewriting another being's talent was one of their various known abilities. They held the key to overcoming the innate talent limit given at birth. You've caught my interest, Hecate. Please continue, Thanatos requested. Previous chapter. After receiving Thanatos' request, Hecate nodded. Everyone should already know that the Soul Master made a deal with me to help him with Abaddon. This proves that the Soul Master is not narrow-minded and biased against working with great devils, Hecate mentioned. Since he has no problem working with great devils, why can't we make him one of ours? Everyone is wary of him because he is from Pangaea. But would that still be the case if he became one of Gehenna's great devils? Why must we push a talent with limitless potential to death when we can align our interests and work towards a brighter future together? Are you all satisfied with Gehenna's current state? Don't you want to restore its glory or even achieve something greater for yourself? Since the death of the 7 sins in the last realm war, Gehenna also lost the status it held in the past. How much longer must we humble ourselves to other star realms to avoid a realm war? How many more resources must we sell to Hades? Even Nightmare secretly eyes our realm covetously. The Soul Master is the only opportunity Gehenna has ever been given to completely change its fate's trajectory in the past million years. If we don't take this chance now, when will we ever? Hecate spoke eloquently. Thanatos had to admit he was moved by her words. Hecate was very persuasive. Furthermore, it wasn't just him who felt this way, Astarte and Mephistopheles were included. On the other hand, Balmodin was hesitant. He was naturally tempted, but Hecate's words also sounded too good to be true. She painted a marvelous future, but she did not include the risks they would have to take. After all, this risk didn't concern the uninvolved great devils. Only those who had previous beef with the Soul Master carried this risk. Now that Balmodin thought about it, there was a slight chance that he didn't have any deep-rooted enmity with the Soul Master either. Most of his conflicts were with the 7 witch kingdoms, not the great Rathalos Empire. Balmodin was suddenly moved. Despite that, he intended to remain undecided until he learned of the Soul Master's identity. Meanwhile, Helkan read Balmodin's expression, and his face darkened with gloom. He did not agree with the Soul Master becoming a great devil, but everyone else did. His future would become uncertain if he couldn't get Balmodin to back him up. Who would be happy about living on borrowed time? Don't trust her words, Balmodin. Anyone can get on the Soul Master's good side, but not you. I know who the Soul Master is, his name is Vaan Rafna. The Black Rose Kingdom's men see him as their savior, and the witches worship him as their idol. He shares a very close and intimate relationship with the witches. Considering your poor relationship with the 7 witch kingdoms, I highly doubt he will let you off once he is strong enough, Helkan spilled. Although Helkan wasn't completely confident the Soul Master was the same Vaan Rafna, with whom he had once traded blows in his avatar, he felt like he was at least 80% certain it was the same person. In any case, he had to get Balmodin on his side. Is that true? Balmodin deeply frowned. Hecate revealed her surprise, but she quickly recovered her wits and silently admitted with a nod. After all, there was no point hiding after it was exposed. Even so, she didn't expect the Helkan to learn of Vaan's identity so quickly. It seemed like there was some history between them. She recalled that Helkan was involved in a war between the Black Rose Kingdom and the Holy Knight Empire. Furthermore, Helkan's adamant rejection also proved his bad relationship. After Hecate pieced together the information, she realized why Helkan was trying so hard to go against her suggestion. His relationship with Vaan was worse than Balmodin's. Sir Vaan indeed shares a close relationship with witches, but you shouldn't let Helkan's words mislead you, little ball, Hecate added with a calm smile. What do you mean, Lady Hecate? Balmodin asked, ignoring the disrespectful nickname. He is trying to confuse you. There might be some history between you and the witches. However, your personal relationship with Vaan is not as bad as Helkan made it seem, Hecate replied. After all, your war with the witches was 300 years ago. What does that have to do with Vaan? On the other hand, Helkan was directly involved in a war between the Black Rose Kingdom and the Holy Knight Empire some time ago. Compared to the hatred between Vaan and Helkan, yours practically doesn't exist, Hecate added. I see, Balmodin calmly knitted his brows before giving Helkan a passing glance. At the same time, Helkan could only snort coldly with a gloomy look after having his plans thwarted by Hecate. In truth, Balmodin didn't worry too much about the Soul Master after learning the person's identity. However, the person's name did spark his interest in digging up some old memories from 10,000 years ago. Unfortunately, he was disappointed when he discovered that Vaan Rafna wasn't quite the name he sought. The name that came up in his vague memories was Veilfor Rafna. I find Hecate's suggestion to promote Soul Master Vaan Rafna to the position of Great Devil acceptable and reasonable. However, some among you may disagree, so let us vote and see, Thanatos declared before saying, all in favor of Hecate's suggestion, show your hands. Thanatos, Astarte, and Hecate herself raised their hands. At the same time, Balmodin, Helkan, and Mephistopheles glanced at Hecate with varying looks of disapproval. However, Hecate pretended not to see. Since she was also a great devil, how could she not shamelessly vote in favor of her own suggestion? And those not in favor of Hecate's suggestion? Thanatos asked. Helkan and Mephistopheles raised their hands. I abstain from voting, Balmodin stated. There were 3 favors, 2 disagreements, and 1 abstention. Since we didn't reach a unanimous decision, we will continue to discuss this matter until we do, Thanatos calmly announced. Out of all the votes, Balmodin and Helkan's choices weren't surprising after everything that had been said. However, Mephistopheles' choice was the most unexpected, given his favorable reaction to Hecate's suggestion. Mephistopheles, you seemed quite favorable of Hecate's suggestion. Why did you disagree? Astarte inquired with a frown before adding, if you are just messing around, you better quit it now. We aren't here to entertain you. Although Astarte knew a great devil conference would never end quickly, she despised those who intentionally prolonged it. It just so happened that Mephistopheles, the trickster, was always causing trouble at every great devil conference. Kakik, don't get me wrong, Astarte. I'm not messing around this time, Mephistopheles chuckled before saying, I'm naturally in favor of promoting the Soul Master to the position of Great Devil. However, there has to be some conditions. The Great Devil position isn't just some cheap cabbage we can just pass around on a whim, Mephistopheles added. In the first place, they initiated the Great Devil Conference to get some benefits from Hecate and the Evernight territory. As such, how was it acceptable to just promote Abaddon's killer into the position free of charge? Moreover, they would also have to try to please the Soul Master to improve their relationship and extinguish any potential conflict. Such acts would require them to cough out their own resources. As such, if Mephistopheles let the Soul Master smoothly ascend to the Great Devil position, he would not get any benefits and would even lose them. Oh. Then what do you propose, Meph? Thanatos asked with interest. Mephistopheles' lips twitched profusely. Out of the great devils present, he was the only one given a baby name by Thanatos. This was no longer about Thanatos being lazy due to long names. Do you think you can just bully me like this, Thanatos? Yes. Yes, you can. God damn it. Mephistopheles inwardly cursed. Shortly after settling his inner turmoil, Mephistopheles replied, Great devils represent the strongest powers of Gehenna. Thus, my condition is that the Soul Master must have the cultivation of a peak rank 6 divine being or the combat prowess of 1. My second condition is that he must have complete legitimacy and approval. If he wants to be the Evernight Territory's great devil, he must possess the vampire bloodline and gain the acknowledgement of the vampire race. If he wants to be Pangaea Territory's great devil, he must unify it and get the acknowledgement of its countries. He can only pick one, not both. Great devils have always ruled a single territory, so how can we give two to a newcomer? That's unprecedented, Mephistopheles stated. What do you mean by those words, Mephistopheles? Hecate's eyes narrowed dangerously after listening to the conditions. Her original plan was to make Vaan the great devil of the Evernight Territory. But if he had to give up Pangaea for it, he would definitely agree to it. However, if Vaan kept Pangaea, which he most likely would, he would only be a great devil in name. Mephistopheles' plan was to divide the Evernight Territory and get a piece for himself. He was certainly quite a schemer to try and make Vaan a great devil without giving him anything. Hecate solemnly asked, do you think Pangaea can still be considered its own territory after it merges with other territories? Indeed, Pangaea can't be regarded as a territory, Astarte agreed. Part of it has already merged with Balmodon's wolf god domain. Now that a connection has been formed in the Great Rathalos Empire, the Evernight Territory will also gain parts of Pangaea. If more connection points appear, Pangaea will be increasingly divided, becoming a part of every territory. In that case, wouldn't Soul Master Vaan Rafna have joint authority over everyone's territory in the future if he chooses to become Pangaea's great devil? Astarte asked. Mephistopheles' mouth opened like an O shape, but no words came out. You have a point, Astarte. We definitely can't allow that. The joint authority will cause problems in decision-making and efficiency, Mephistopheles acknowledged. In that case, I suggest the Soul Master can only be the great devil of the Evernight Territory. However, until he is qualified, everyone will co-govern the Evernight Territory. As for Pangaea, it's not impossible to let the Soul Master keep it even if it ends up in another great devil's territory, he just needs to win that great devil's agreement or offer acceptable compensation. Of course, the exact details will be negotiated between the concerned parties, Mephistopheles suggested. In any case, he would still get his hands on a piece of the Evernight Territory, even if he couldn't keep it forever. How long would it take the Soul Master to become qualified for the Great Devil position? No matter how fast the Soul Master grew, he believed he should be able to exploit the Evernight Territory for the next couple of 100 or 1,000 years. Mepha's suggestion is also reasonable, Thanatos acknowledged. Meanwhile, Helkin's expression continuously darkened as he listened to the Great Devil's discussion. It was clear that none of them were trying to persuade him to agree so they could reach a unanimous decision sooner. They were only concerned about dividing up territories for their own benefit. Thanatos noticed the negative emotions growing in Helkin's eyes and said, Helkan, you are forbidden from doing anything that would harm the Soul Master or antagonize him during this period. Then, are you telling me to wait for death, Thanatos? Helkan asked grimly. Of course not. I'm merely telling you to have some patience, Thanatos corrected coolly before saying, since Hecate said the Soul Master isn't narrow-minded, we will all help mediate between you. However, the Soul Master won't suddenly become powerful, so there's no need to rush this matter. We are also giving you time to figure out how to make peace with him and absolve your grudges. More pressingly, the Evernight Territory cannot stay in Hecate's sole control while we wait for the Soul Master to become qualified, Thanatos stated. Helkan immediately fell silent with unreadable thoughts. Meanwhile, Hecate softly sighed after hearing Thanatos' statement. He had made his stance clear to everyone. In truth, it was quite easy to convince Thanatos. After all, Thanatos was the most nervous about the Skymagia Star Kingdom's realm war out of the Great Devils since his death law would undoubtedly dominate the battlefield and attract much attention. A nail that stuck out would be hammered down. That aside, although Hecate managed to secure Vaan's safety for the time being, she also failed to keep the Evernight Territory. Furthermore, she couldn't say this result was unexpected either. However, it was difficult to guess what would remain of the Evernight Territory by the time Vaan achieved the qualifications to inherit it. Previous chapter. Pangaea Star System, Moon's Core. Cling, clang, clang. The metallic noise of construction resounded throughout the ruined colony, hidden within the Moon's core, as the Red Dragons mended the widespread damages. It was impossible to completely recover the lost civilization's technology and functions. However, if it was just restoring the ancient Moon colony's basic life support systems, the Red Dragon clan was more than knowledgeable and capable enough. Even if they didn't understand the lost civilization's advanced technology, they used their knowledge of magic and runes to patch up the areas where they did not understand. In fact, the widespread damage to the ancient Moon colony gave the Red Dragons a larger degree of freedom in their reconstruction plan. After all, the ancient Moon colony was built for an advanced humanoid or human race. Despite its enormity, it wouldn't have been suitable for accommodating the large size of dragons. As such, the widespread damage saved them both effort and time in modifying the ancient Moon colony to accommodate both humans and dragons. Nevertheless, the ancient Moon colony was estimated to accommodate 500,000 human-sized beings. For 100 red dragons, it was a gargantuan task that would take them weeks, possibly months, to fully restore functional life support systems. Fortunately, the nearby dimensional crack gave them a limitless supply of pure mana, greatly improving their work efficiency. With more red dragons and witches bound to join in on the reconstruction project over time, the completion time would be further reduced. Ha ha ha. Ah ha ha ha. Amid the busy reconstruction noises, hearty dragon laughter shook the ancient moon colony. The red dragons could not help themselves but fall into a fit of heavy laughter every time they looked at each other. Ah ha ha. You look seriously ridiculous. You look like you're wearing a fish bowl, a red dragon loudly guffawed as it stared at another red dragon wearing its airhead. Ha 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 ha. The other red dragon laughed back at it even louder, saying, no, you look ridiculous. Ah ha ha ha. No, you do. You look like you're wearing a fish bowl. And you look like a round-tip unicorn. Ha ha ha. What? The red dragon with the faulty magic equipment was immediately shocked to discover its forehead area was sticking out excessively. When it turned to the other red dragons, they laughed hard at it too. In that instant, the red dragon was petrified. Shock, shame, and fear poured into its fragile heart. As it turned out, they were not laughing at each other. They were only laughing at him. Oh, this is bullshit, the red dragon cursed, feeling endless shame and embarrassment. Ha 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 ha. The other red dragons continued to laugh. While the red dragons carried out their fun work, Vaan and the witches went to the other side of the moon's dimensional crack to cultivate. The seemingly limitless amounts of pure mana shocked everyone. Whether it was the usually calm Inaus, the stern Aliena, the elegant Solana, the quiet Dahlia, or the youthful Cyrena, they were also astounded. Not even Ophelia or the three dreamcatchers who all followed was an exception. The pure mana of the subterranean region was unlike any mana they had ever encountered. It was nothing compared to mana stones circulated in the market and definitely not the mana from Gehenna. The mana in this underground space is so pure. Mana has never felt this easy to manipulate and absorb. The mana circulation method is running even smoother than usual. A battle witch exclaimed as she analyzed the pure mana. Take this chance to cultivate while you can. You won't get many chances to do so once you start helping the dragons rebuild the moon colony. Yes, Supreme Commander. Yes, Lord Vaan. The battle witches and witch students all answered with enthusiasm and excitement. Cultivating in such a miraculous place would produce at least twice the result with half the effort. Sir Vaan, I'm actually jealous. To think you had access to such a wondrous place. It's only after coming here that I realized the mana from Gehenna is very impure, Ophelia commented enviously. Such pure mana was rare, even in her previous life in Nightmare. Nightmare's mana was just a little purer than Gehenna's but still very much impure. As such, she was quite curious about where they were in chaos. There's no need to be envious, Lady Ophelia. You are a highly regarded guest of mine. You are welcome to stay here to cultivate for as long as you want, Vaan calmly stated with a smile. After hearing Ophelia's words of envy, he was able to confirm the effectiveness of pure mana. It wasn't just useful to men, it was even more useful to witches. In the near future, when the path to the moon becomes readily available to everyone, even your Black Witch Society's people will get plenty of chances to cultivate here as well, should you wish them to. Really? Will you really grant access to such a large group of fallen witches, Sir Vaan? Ophelia asked. Of course, provided that they follow the societal rules of the regions, Vaan nodded before reminding her, they won't get any special immunity for breaking the laws, so keep that in mind, Lady Ophelia. Naturally, that is to be expected, Ophelia acknowledged. Shortly after, she politely excused herself, not wishing to take up any more of Vaan's time. She found herself a quiet and secluded spot in the subterranean region to cultivate her magic power. I'm not sure if it'll be effective at your level, but feel free to cultivate if you desire it, Lady Dreamcatchers, Vaan said to the three dreamcatchers hidden within their cloak of invisibility. You need not concern yourself with us, Sir Vaan. The mana here is indeed very pure, but it is so true that it is not very effective at our level. We will continue to protect you as our mistress commanded, Ninth Dream spoke seriously after emerging from her illusion. Vaan's gaze slowly shifted to the other two dreamcatchers cultivating within their cloak of invisibility before he uttered, I see. That's reassuring. You can go back to your cultivation, Lady Ninth Dream. Sir Vaan, I do not know what you mean, Ninth Dream knitted her brows. Oh, my bad. I've misspoken. I meant you can go back to protecting me in secret, Lady Ninth Dream, Vaan corrected with a smile. Oh, I see. All is well then, Ninth Dream pouted before disappearing into her illusion. Even so, she didn't cultivate like the other two. She remained true to her task. At least one of them had to guard Vaan at all times, even if there were no nearby threats. After Vaan finished talking to Ninth Dream, he finally turned his attention to his student and women. Time waits for no one. Use this opportunity to advance your magic power as much as possible, Vaan said to them. Everyone quickly nodded and found their own space to absorb the pure mana in the environment peacefully and undisturbed. Only Aliena remained by Vaan's side, seemingly not in a hurry to cultivate. Nevertheless, after a few rounds of circulation, the others immediately felt the benefits of refining the pure mana. Although they had already sensed the benefits of the pure mana beforehand, they were still surprised when they personally experienced it. Their speed of absorption was faster, and their control of mana was more precise. As such, whether it was saturating their mana rings or forming new ones, the process felt incredibly smooth. The resistance of compressing and condensing mana had weakened considerably. When Cyrena and Dahlia discovered that, they quickly understood they wouldn't experience the same bottleneck most peak stage senior witches faced when trying to advance to the high witch rank. They would be truly incompetent if they couldn't even advance to the high witch rank under such favorable conditions. Meanwhile, Vaan quietly observed the witches cultivate and affirmed his suspicion. After acquiring the fourth dimensional sense, he was able to understand mana in greater detail. The difference between the subterranean region's pure mana and Gehenna's impure mana was like heaven and earth. There was no comparison between them, pure mana was simply superior in every aspect. Gehenna's mana was impure due to its repeated use. It had been exposed to countless demons and devils. Whether through personal usage or passing thoughts during their deaths, all their wills had repeatedly tainted Gehenna's mana over Gehenna's long history. These were the reasons for the mana's impurity. It was basically recycled mana. After countless uses and tampering, it was natural for it to lose its original potency and purity. As such, it was also understandable for Gehenna's beings to take hundreds to thousands of years to advance their level of existence. Their snail-paced progress was directly tied to their poor environment. No wonder Gehenna could only be a vassal star realm of the Skymagia star kingdom. On the other hand, the subterranean region's pure mana was untainted and unused by any beings. That was why the mana was so pure and potent. Vaan speculated that Astoria wouldn't have an issue achieving transcendence if she could cultivate in such a blessed environment. Henrietta would also make smoother progress towards the divine rank. The difference between recycled mana and clean mana was simply too big of a gap. Perhaps the star realms in chaos are also divided into ranks based on their quality of mana. Vaan silently mused. Shortly after finishing his analysis, he finally shifted his attention to Aliana by his side. "Why haven't you gone to cultivate, Aliana?" Vaan casually asked with a smile, despite understanding her intention. "My lord, cultivating in this environment is great, but wouldn't dual cultivation be even better?" Aliana asked before adding, "It's a while since my lord doted on this servant. Even flowers need some watering from time to time." Although it seemed like the Anaus and the others focused on their private cultivation, they secretly eavesdropped on Aliana's conversation after her action of staying back caught their attention. As such, when they heard Aliana's words, they couldn't help but secretly curse her for being shameless. They couldn't believe she would make such a request when so many witches and students were nearby in the open subterranean space. Even if she dual cultivated with Vaan in a secluded place and blocked out the noise with magic, she still wouldn't be able to stop the movement of mana from exposing her intimate act with him. Did she not care about others learning about it? Although Anaus and the others secretly cursed Aliana for having no shame, they also regretted not being shameless enough to think of it. Nevertheless, Vaan accepted Aliana's request and brought her deeper into the subterranean region, far away from the others. He didn't want the mana storm created from their dual cultivation to affect the others. After bringing Aliana sufficiently far enough, Vaan waved his hand and created a temporary yet spacious rock chamber with earth manipulation to give themselves more privacy. Aliana also cast noise isolation magic on it as her heartbeat increased with anticipation. Vaan held Aliana's soft hand and led her inside the rock chamber. Right after, he immediately took out a bed from his heaven. Swallowing space. However, the bed quickly fell apart, having all its legs broken the last time it was used. Vaan briefly paused at its pitiful sight before putting it away with a wave of his hand. "Forget it. Let us use the earth as our bed," Vaan said. Although he could use Emerald's power or Aliana's wood magic to repair the bed, it would still shatter upon use. Vaan made a mental note to make a sturdier bed for future convenience. Aliana nodded with a slight blush. She had no complaint regarding where and when they duel. Cultivated as long as they could do it. Unable to hold herself back, Aliana quickly threw herself into Vaan's arms and clumsily and blindly undressed him while greedily monopolizing his lips with hers. However, she only managed to remove his top half after much effort. "Has your desire overwhelmed your desire? You've forgotten your place, Aliana," Vaan lectured, seeming half serious and half joking. Please punish this servant, my lord," Aliana requested with even more anticipation. Vaan immediately spun her body once, disrobing her entire green floral dress and revealing her fair body in one fluid motion. At the same time, he caught both her hands with one of his before pressing her up against the wall. Slipping out his awakened dragon, he swiftly rammed it into the vulnerable cave without foreplay. Aliana cried with a mixture of joy and surprise. Her body spasmed with sheer ecstasy, and her mind almost soared into seventh heaven. However, she retained a shred of reason. My lord? This servant isn't wet yet." Aliana seemingly complained, but her tender voice was full of seduction and womanly charms. Would it be punishment otherwise?" Vaan half-heartedly snorted. Nevertheless, he furrowed his brows and pulled out after a few thrusts. He swiped her pink cave with 2 fingers before bringing it up to show her the love nectar dripping on them. "What do you mean you're not wet yet?" "Sweetheart, it's a bloody honey factory down here," Vaan retorted snappishly. Aliana blushed with embarrassment after Vaan blatantly exposed her. She could only giggle shyly, replying, "Please punish this sinful body more, my lord." Alian's erotic and melodious voice soon sounded with rock chamber in unending waves as she dual cultivated with Vaan. Her emotional levels quickly reached a sublime yet serene state. It was only through the comfort of Vaan's warmth that her soul found soothing peace, free from the nightmares of her insufferable days under the abomination state. Each time Aliana experienced this healing warmth, her scarred soul felt like it underwent nirvana and rebirth. It was also like a butterfly breaking free from its cocoon. However, the feeling was only illusory. Even so, Aliana had a faint feeling that the illusory feeling would become a reality with enough sessions, allowing her soul to enter a transcendental stage. Nevertheless, as Vaan and Aliana enjoyed their rough yet passionate session of intimacy, Aliana's highly stimulated pores greedily devoured the pure mana in the surroundings. Without any surprise, a mana storm was formed with the couple at the center. Seemingly endless waves of pure mana gathered towards the rock chamber and squeezed inside through its micro gaps, making their way to Aliana. Although Aliana's body absorbed a tremendous amount of pure mana over time, her cultivation rank did not increase. Instead, her cultivation became increasingly firm and stable. The refined pure mana poured into her 5 mana rings. It filtered out her impure mana, allowing her mana rings to reach an unprecedented level of saturation and purity. 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye before Aliana's 5 mana rings were completely purified, free of any more impure mana. They were fully replaced with pure mana. Nevertheless, they did not seem to have reached their saturation limit. Evidently, this step would take much longer to achieve. Even with pure mana and heaven-defying dual cultivation, the sky wouldn't be reached in a single step. However, Aliana's late-stage high witch cultivation continued to be firmer and stable. Vaan figured that once her cultivation reached her saturation limit, her mana rings would achieve a stainless pure state, allowing them to purify new mana to maintain its purity level naturally. However, reaching that point might not be as simple as it seemed. After all, if impure mana was so easy to purify, would the beings of Gehenna not have thought about it? Maybe it just took them an awful lot of time to refine the mana's purity. Otherwise, given the impurity level of Gehenna's mana, most beings would be stuck at rank 3 or 4, unable to reach rank 5 or beyond. Furthermore, purifying Gehenna's mana didn't necessarily mean it would recover its potency. This also made sense to Vaan. Purifying mana shouldn't be easy, especially if it were about turning Gehenna's impure mana into the subterranean region's level of pure mana. However, Vaan felt it was easily within his reach if he relied on the nihility law. It just required a higher level of control than the state of turning matter into energy. As for the issue of potency, that could be compensated with quantity. Nevertheless, Vaan gradually focused on his own cultivation. His mana core in the upper Danton had stagnated at the peak stage true warlock rank for quite a while and had also been neglected. As such, it was also time for him to focus on his mana cultivation. As Vaan revolved the mana core in his upper Dantian, a portion of the pure mana flowing toward Aliana was quickly absorbed by him, nourishing his mana core. The faster his mana core revolved, the more pure mana it drew in. Although Vaan's increasing speed of mana absorption inevitably affected Aliana's cultivation, it was still faster than cultivating on her own. His heavenly massage was stimulating her mana absorption ability to its limits. Witches had far higher mana affinity than men could ever hope to have. Even Vaan was no exception. This was predetermined by their specific Pangean lineage of the human race. Nevertheless, dual cultivation was intended to benefit both parties. Vaan wouldn't limit Aliana's growth for his own benefit, not to mention he didn't need to. After all, chaos was his domain, the domain of soul masters. They could directly interact with the world using their wills. Swish! The mana storm suddenly surged with increasing intensity as Vaan drew in new waves of pure mana with his soul force, increasing the rate of their mana cultivation. Ah! Aliana's sweet voice resounded within the rock chamber as Vaan's seemingly inexhaustible piston movement rocked her delicate body with unending waves of pleasure. Meanwhile, Ninth Dream had long fled her bodyguard duties in a panic. The passionate scenes within the rock chamber had been too much stimulation for a chaste virgin like her. Her was burning red hot, and her breathing was erratic as her chest heaved up and down. Fourth Dream and Seventh Dream opened their eyes during their meditative cultivation after sensing Ninth Dream's odd presence. Ninth Dream, aren't you supposed to be guarding Sir Vaan? What are you back here? Fourth Dream inquired with furrowed brows. I don't want to continue my shift for the time being. I want to swap out early. In return, I will do double time on my next shift. Ninth Dream promised with a flushed face. Seventh Dream immediately jumped to her feet and eagerly accepted. It's a deal. Hee, bye-bye, Fourth Dream. You snooze, you lose. Without waiting for Fourth Dream's response, Seventh Dream took over Ninth Dream's shift and rushed ahead to Vaan's location. However, a few minutes later, Seventh Dream also ran back in a panicky manner with a reddened face and haggard breathing. I don't want this shift, either. If you do it, I'll take over your next 3 shifts, Fourth Sister. Seventh Dream haggled with burning red cheeks. However, Fourth Dream quickly became angry at them. What's the matter with you two? Are you taking your mission seriously? The mistress gave us a task, so we must do it dutifully. Humph. I don't want to hear any of this. I don't want to do it crap next time. You two should at least scout the region for threats while I guard Sir Vaan. Fourth Dream criticized, but she still stood up and took over their shifts happily. A little overtime work for far more extra time off. Of course, she had to accept. After Fourth Dream went to guard Vaan, she quickly found out why the two had fled in a panic. The stimulating scene was indeed too much for chaste virgins like them. Unfortunately, she didn't have the face to return after what she said to Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream earlier. Previous chapter. On. Please punish this servant even more, my lord. Aliana's charming cry sounded as she left herself vulnerable, pressed under Vaan's manly body. Originally, she was the silent type during such intimate acts. However, she later found out that her vocal pleas and acts of submission could enhance the dual cultivation experience for both parties. Vaan's skillful full-body massage provided physical fulfillment. Although the sound of their lovemaking did not escape the rock chamber, Fourth Dream could still peek inside and read their expressions. Aliana's blissful expression was like a wonder drug, making Fourth Dream's imagination run wild in a forbidden zone. While Fourth Dream was guarding outside the rock chamber, ensuring their intimate session remained undisturbed, she couldn't help but peek inside every so often. As nefarious wild thoughts entered Fourth Dream's head, polluting her pure mind, she quickly felt ashamed for coming up with such impure thoughts. She couldn't believe that she actually tried to imagine herself in Lady Aliana's place. However, it was not her fault. One's mind would naturally wander in that direction if one were to be exposed to such intense carnal stimulation, especially when the sound of the scene had been isolated within. The absence of sound forced the mind to overcompensate with richer imagination. Fourth Dream found her body heat rising as her heartbeat increased steadily over time, making her body more sensitive. She could also feel her cheeks burning hot as the feral heat made her lightheaded. It was like soaking herself in a hot spring or sauna for too long. Although Fourth Dream was deeply embarrassed by the shameful displays within the rock chamber, she stubbornly and dutifully guarded the area. As the eldest of the three dreamcatchers, she had to be their model dreamcatcher. There was no retreat for her. At some point, Fourth Dream eventually stopped caring about her duty. After prolonged exposure to Vaan and Aliana's dual cultivation session, it was all she could think about. However, she still had her womanly reservations. How could a woman put up such a shameful display in front of a man? Does it really feel that great? No, I shouldn't think like that. These impure thoughts must be expelled. This is not how a proper lady should conduct herself. But this is a private matter between man and woman. I am the outsider, inappropriately peeking into their private affairs. That is also not something a proper lady should do. She is not being shameful, I am. No, how can that be? I am just carrying out my duty. Sir Vaan knows this but still carries out such licentious acts in my presence. Isn't that the same as just it showing to me? How can I not look when someone puts it in front of me? Fourth Dream, Fourth Dream. How can you be so shameless? You only need to guard outside. Who asked you to peek inside? You only have yourself to blame for being nosy and curious. What am I doing right now? Why can't I get rid of these lewd thoughts? Why do I keep thinking about it? I wonder what it feels like in Lady Aliana's shoes. Ugh, what the hell am I thinking? Meanwhile, Vaan and Aliana continued to enjoy themselves to the fullest, letting their cultivation rise as they indulged in their carnal desires. Aliana still had a long way to go before advancing to peak stage High Witch. However, Vaan broke through to early stage Senior Warlock after 3 hours. Another 6 hours later, his cultivation advanced again to middle stage Senior Warlock. Despite such a huge pure mana storm aiding them, Vaan found his progress to be slow, as expected. The mana required for his Warlock path was excessively demanding and would only continue to increase with each advancement. Any witch consuming the same amount of pure mana would have already reached the High Witch rank. That said, it was only regarding his mana consumption. His actual progress was still extremely fast, far faster than most people's. In fact, it was so quick that people might even develop heart problems comparing themselves to him. 2 days later, Aliana finally broke through to peak stage High Witch, and Vaan advanced to peak stage Senior Warlock. Since Aliana was required to consolidate her foundation and stabilize her cultivation of peak stage High Witch, she couldn't keep him company in dual cultivation. As such, Vaan was required to find another partner for his dual cultivation. In this regard, he had no shortage of women waiting on him. His women aside, even the battle witches and witch students he brought along were secretly hoping for such opportunities. That said, their desire had been suppressed since they started cultivating with pure mana and discovered zero bottlenecks in their cultivation. After Vaan cleaned up the rock chamber and himself with his wind, water, and fire laws and dressed neatly, he left Aliana to consolidate her new rank in peace. Outside the rock chamber, Vaan came across the three dreamcatchers together 100 meters away after turning a corner. Sir Vaan. Why, you're out, Seventh Dream greeted with a deep blush after being startled. However, she found herself unable to look at Vaan without feeling shy or embarrassed. Her body also started squirming subconsciously. At that moment, Fourth Dream was lying in Seventh Dream's lap, seemingly dizzy as her world spun in circles. Her nose was also plugged with white cloths, which were used to stop her excessive nosebleeds. At the same time, Ninth Dream fanned her with a simple magic spell. What's wrong with Lady Fourth Dream? Vaan asked innocently, pretending to be ignorant. Lady Fourth Dream, overheated from too much stimulation on the job, Sir Vaan. It's nothing serious, so you don't need to worry. She'll be back on her feet before you know it, Seventh Dream answered shyly. Fourth Dream had endured the stimulation of Vaan's dual cultivation with Aliana throughout its entire process and only just collapsed after it ended. Naturally, she was dragged away to a safe spot to recover since Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream were like frightened kittens, too scared to linger in the area lest they see more things they shouldn't see. Previous chapter. Next. As Seventh Dream said, Fourth Dream recovered after a few dozen breaths passed. Her gaze regained clarity as she snapped back to reality. How long have I been out? Fourth Dream immediately asked upon noticing Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream beside her. However, Vaan's question was heard first. How do you do, Lady Fourth Dream? Fourth Dream was immediately startled as her gaze shifted to Vaan, who was further away from them. The moment it did, she recalled his licentious acts with Aliana in the past 2.5 days. In that instant, her heart palpitated and started beating abnormally. The rising blood pressure caused her body to heat up once more, seemingly channeling to her face. A bright red blush soon appeared. Splurt. The 2 blood-stained white cloths plugging Fourth Dream's nosebleed fell out as 2 arrows of blood sprayed out of her nostrils again. Fourth Dream collapsed again, feeling hot all over. Ah, Fourth Sister. Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream cried out. However, Fourth Dream suddenly found some strength and clutched at their silky white robes, holding onto them in her seemingly weakened state. I was on shift for 2.5 days, my dear sisters. Ninth Dream, you owe me double time. Seventh Dream, you also owe me triple days. That's 12.5 days. I'll be taking my long break now. Good luck, my dear sisters. Fourth Dream stated. As she said that, she seemingly reached her limit and collapsed, pretending to be unconscious to avoid dealing with the aftermath. At the same time, Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream felt a chill. Originally, they only needed to rotate every 8 hours. Double or triple of that shift was only 16 and 24 hours, respectively. However, their fourth sister did a 2.5-day shift at once. As such, they ended up with 5 days and 7.5 days of guard duty to do. Fourth Dream had toiled hard to make the most of their offer. Now, Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream could only feel regret for giving out such offers. Nevertheless, it shouldn't be bad since Sir Vaan had finished his private affairs with Lady Aliana. As such, they shouldn't have to worry about seeing any more obscene acts for the time being. However, their shifts were very long. Anything could happen during these following 2 weeks. As such, they could only hope Sir Vaan's libido was quelled for as long as possible. Unfortunately, it was only wishful thinking on their part. After Vaan returned to the witch group, he made off with Inauz, who had already overstayed her break. After all, managing the Shadow Witch Order was a demanding job. As such, Vaan intended to satisfy her first so she could return to her work sooner. They quickly found themselves a secluded spot further away from Aliana's rock chamber before Vaan constructed a new rock chamber for their use. When Seventh Dream and Ninth Dream saw that, they immediately knew what the two intended to do. Their faces immediately flushed with embarrassment as their heads ran wild with imagination ahead of time. However, they couldn't give up their guard duty again. Well then, Seventh Sister, I'll do my shift first. You can look after Fourth Sister or cultivate peacefully. Sir Vaan had already gone at it for 2.5 days straight. Even if he intended to continue, he shouldn't last much longer. As such, she should be able to have an easier time in the later parts of her 5-day shift if she endured for a bit, Ninth Dream thought. However, just as she took a few steps closer to Vaan's new rock chamber, Seventh Dream suddenly grabbed her left shoulder with one hand. Wait a moment, Ninth Sister. I have 7.5 days of guard duty to do. Let me go first. How could she possibly let Ninth Dream go first when she had the longer shift? Even if they rotate every 12 hours, she would still have 2.5 days of guard duty to do at once. How can I do that, Seventh Sister? However, Seventh Sister strengthened her grip, keeping Ninth Dream in place. I insist, my good sister, is that so? Why are you so eager? You are thinking too much, Ninth Sister. This older sister will let you indulge in your peaking hobbies. I'm not like that, Seventh Sister. You are maliciously questioning my character. There's no need to deny it, Ninth Sister. It's normal for a chaste lady to become curious about these lecherous activities once you've been exposed to them. I'm not one to judge what you like and don't like. However, it caused Ninth Dream to stamp her feet angrily. I already said I'm not. Oh, my. Why are you so quick to lose your temper, Ninth Sister? That's a sign that your mental cultivation is lacking. Humph. I don't want to talk to you anymore. She no longer wanted to fight with Seventh Dream over guard duties. He, Seventh Dream giggled victoriously. However, Inauz's sweet moan was shortly sounded from the new rock chamber, causing a deep blush to appear on Seventh Dream's stiffened expression. Why did Lady Inauz and Sir Vaan forget to cast a noise isolation spell? Seventh Dream quickly panicked. Seventh Dream's smugness instantly disappeared as Inauz's sweet moan turned her heart and mind into a jittery mess. She didn't expect the sound of Sir Vaan and Lady Inauz's dual cultivation to be more stimulating than she imagined. At that moment, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry about her situation. Winning a petty battle against Ninth Dream wasn't necessarily a good thing. What should I do? Should I cast a noise isolation magic for them? But if I do, they will immediately know it's me and suspect I'm secretly watching them. That's the spot, Vaan. A petrifying shock immediately ran through Seventh Dream, sapping away at her strength. Why did I fight Ninth Dream over this? Meanwhile, within the new rock chamber, Vaan and Inauz's bare bodies were intertwined and seemingly inseparable in a spooning position. As Vaan's lower body movement injected waves of pleasure into Inauz's delicate flower cave, his hands juggled with her huge melons. I don't get why you like such big bundles of inconvenience. Since they belong to you and you belong to me, why wouldn't I like them? How can I dislike what belongs to me? However, you do have a point, Inauz. Their sizes are abnormally unhealthy for your back and neck. I won't always be around to alleviate the stress from your burdened body. Meanwhile, his hands skillfully shifted to releasing pressure in Inauz's back and neck, allowing her to feel deep relaxation and comfort. I'm afraid if I don't keep it burdened, I will get fewer chances to enjoy this kind of quality treatment and care. This kind of treatment and care are yours to enjoy always. You only need to ask for it. I know. But it's not the same. How can a perfectly fine body feel the same level of comfort and relaxation as a stressed body under treatment? Don't worry, Vaan. This is something I am willing to bear. It's only more meaningful and fulfilling like this after a period of hard work. Suddenly, Inauz tightened her flower cave hard in an attempt to cause Vaan to ejaculate early. As such, Vaan smacked her naughty but as punishment. Are you trying to squeeze me dry, my lady? I'm still a woman, and no woman would be completely fine with sharing their man, Vaan. It's too early to tell who will be milking who dry. We didn't set up any noise isolation barrier, so the louder you scream, the more people will hear you, my lady, Vaan. Then, let them hear and be jealous. We have a feisty one today. Oh, and why is that? You know what they said, more cushion for the pushing. Inau's body shook in that instant as she had a bad premonition. Rumble. Vaan rocked Inau's body along with the chamber as his sudden surge of rigorous movements created wave after wave of tremors. Ah! Inau's uncontrolled moans sounded as Vaan's sudden assault took her by surprise. The Witch Hunter. Great Rathalos Empire, Imperial Capital. Over the past 3 days, the Black Pillar region has undergone startling development. To contain it, tall magic-enchanted walls have been erected around it. At the same time, a new military district was set up right behind those very walls. Although they had been told the Evernight territory wouldn't invade the Great Rathalos Empire again, only fools wouldn't try to set up any forms of defensive measures in case things went south with Gehenna. Nevertheless, 80% of the construction work was completed quickly, thanks to the help of the Red Dragon Clan and Black Rose Empire. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made that much progress, even if they were given another 4 months. Whether it was the transportation of materials or the technicality of construction, the convenience of magic made everything much simpler. Even so, Emperor Vaan had to give a lot of credit to the Red Dragon Clan. For a dragon race boasting superior strength and knowledge, he didn't expect them to be so skillful in human construction. Nevertheless, since the Black Pillar region was mostly settled, Emperor Vaan could focus on other matters. Although the Black Pillar region may have experienced the most destruction, it wasn't the only place in the imperial capital that suffered. Furthermore, several new districts needed to be built to accommodate the homeless citizens. They could stay in temporary refuge camps and receive disaster relief forever. It was both a burden on the empire and the citizens. Resolving all of these matters would take at least 6 months, minimum. Nevertheless, Emperor Vaan had seen the convenience of magic. As such, he initiated a meeting with Astoria and Henrietta to discuss some matters. Empress Astoria, Queen Henrietta, and Lord Kavat, you have all been a great help in rebuilding the imperial capital these past few days. For that, I am eternally grateful, Emperor. They were all gathered in the open courtyard outside the Imperial Palace's Great Hall since Kavat couldn't fit inside. You didn't call us here just to say this, right? Of course not, Emperor Vaan shook his head before mentioning, in the past, none of our countries could get along due to our biased views and lack of trust. Your point is, I believe it's time to open our borders and trade. We have much to learn from each other, and personally, I would like to hire more witches and wizards to aid this country's development and education. Oh. If this were the past, I definitely wouldn't have believed you could come up with such a proposition, Emperor Vaan. Henrietta smiled before saying, I don't see any reason to refuse. Opening trade routes between our countries will certainly be mutually beneficial. However, I do have one doubt about your country's wealth. I wonder if Emperor Vaan is willing to enlighten me. Since we are now on the same side, how can I possibly refuse a simple inquiry? What do you wish to know, Queen Henrietta? The Great Rathalos Empire is located south of the 7 Witch Kingdoms, further away from Gehenna's entrance. The mana density here is much lower than our Witch Kingdoms, but your country has a far superior wealth of mana stones, Henrietta mentioned before asking, why is that so? It seems you have been quite busy with work and had no time to look deeper, Queen Henrietta. Emperor Vaan casually smiled before saying, because if you did look, you would have easily found out about it. The source of our mana stones isn't some guarded secret at all. The Great Rathalos Empire acquired its wealth of mana stones from the sea. In fact, nearly all of its wealth comes from the Eastern Sea, Lady Henrietta. Kavat spoke up, adding, the Eastern Sea is home to an abundance of resources, mana stone deposits being just one of its richer resources. But isn't that strange? Astoria asked, realizing Henrietta's doubt. She added, even I find it strange for the Eastern Sea to be so rich in mana stone deposits. Why do you both find that strange, Empress Astoria? Emperor Vaan asked with a baffled look. To him, the Eastern Sea being rich in mana stone deposits was normal. Think about it. Before Gehenna's emergence, mana didn't exist in our world. Thus, the rich mana stone deposits in the Eastern Sea shouldn't have existed before that time, Henrietta mentioned. However, mana is like air, it's light and more likely to float into the upper sky, where most of the world's mana is gathered. Even if it dropped on water, it should float and not sink to the bottom. Despite that, the rich mana stone deposits in your Eastern Sea tell us otherwise, Henrietta stated. Indeed, mana is more likely to float if it lands on water. But suppose it was submerged from the start. In that case, sinking becomes reasonable, Astoria chimed, adding, however, wouldn't that also imply Gehenna's mana is being injected into the sea directly? You suspect there's another dimensional crack connected to Gehenna in the Eastern Sea? Emperor Vaan casually asked, unsurprised, before nodding, indeed, that should be the case, though we have never confirmed its exact location. You see, the Eastern Sea isn't exactly a place we can freely explore. In fact, I could argue the sea is far more dangerous than the perilous lands on the continent. However, I'm more concerned about the power that has been connecting Gehenna and Pangaea, Emperor Vaan added. What do you mean, Emperor Vaan? The dimensional crack in the northern land is connected to another land, and the one hidden in the Eastern Sea should also be connected to another sea. If that weren't the case, the boundless sea would have been drained long ago. However, isn't this too coincidental? Emperor Vaan mentioned. Even Great Devil Abaddon required long years of preparation and a huge sacrifice before he established a connection between Gehenna and Pangaea, and even then, it's not on the same scale as the dimensional crack north of your 7 Witch Kingdoms. Doesn't that suggest the power that created those large dimensional cracks is even greater than the Great Devils? Emperor Vaan raised an alarming question. However, Kavat suddenly chuckled without any concern.